another member of our committee. Toby Hoover is from Ohio and is one of Ohio's best-known gun safety advocates. Please welcome the co-founder of the Ohio Coalition Against Gun Violence, Toby Hoover.
Thank you. I appreciate being here today because having been in this state house too many times, all we see is all the pro-gun movement. And as PG said, it's going to be great to let the people of Ohio know that once again their voice can be heard and they can do what they want to in their communities. Our organization started out 20 years ago as a local committee and soon became a statewide organization. And when we started seeing so many successes around the state and cities, the program people got a little bit angry and said, well, we'll do that. We'll just pass preemption and do away with all of them, which is exactly what they did. And so people want to be able to decide what's going to happen with their families in their communities, and this will give them the opportunity to do that. It's been taken away from them. So we're glad to join the fight, and I think only one other thing, I am also a survivor of a gun violence victim, and I think no one should underestimate that we won't stop. We'll just keep going until we see this change. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Toby. Now I want to introduce from Cleveland here today, the Reverend Kris Eggert, founder of God Before Guns.
Thank you and good morning. I am here from Cleveland this morning. I am the co-founder of God Before Guns, but I'm also here this morning as a mom and a grandmother, a pastor, and an ordained clergy person in a denomination, the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, that has made gun violence a priority in its churches. I began my involvement with gun violence on Monday, February 27th, 2012. That was the day of the Chardon High School shootings. I had no choice but to get involved because one of my church youth was there in the cafeteria that morning. So for her and her family and the other families from Chardon in my church, I got involved. And I started finding out then that children in Northeast Ohio, all over all school systems, know something that we didn't know when we were growing up, which was not just a lockdown drill, but lockdown for real. They know the threat is there, it's real. It was just months later that the killing of 21st graders happened in Sandy Hook, and my activism deepened. I made a commitment that I will continue to do this work in whatever way I can until it's no longer the case that 90 people die every single day from a gun. I will do this work until it is no longer the situation in our country that 8 children die every day. In Cleveland, we are still grieving the deaths, the senseless killings of Ramon Burnett, Major Howard, and Aviel Wakefield, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-month-old little girl, all shot dead in the crossfire in their Cleveland neighborhoods. And so in 2015, I supported Mayor Frank Jackson by giving testimony in favor of his stricter gun ordinances, and I applaud the Cleveland City Council for passing them. They were laws that are intended to reduce the number of guns on the streets in Cleveland, the guns that are killing our children. They are laws that promote responsible gun ownership. They do not violate the rights of lawful gun owners. And yet, when the City Council passed these laws, they did it knowing that a lawsuit by a gun rights advocate would soon follow, and it did. Of course, Cleveland is no stranger to preemption, as Toby mentioned. We had an assault weapons ban at one time, too. But I'm not just here for Cleveland, I'm here for the smaller communities in Northeast Ohio as well. Cities like Oberlin, a city that has been sued for having a law that bans guns in its parks. I was there the day that out-of-town gun rights advocates arrived to take over this tiny little playground in the middle of town. Men who came openly carrying their weapons in defiance of the wishes of Oberlin residents just because they could. I watched as family after family after family left the playground that day, not wanting to be pushing their children on the swings alongside a man with a gun. I believe Overland should be able to decide for itself that parks are off limits for guns. And I believe the same is true for Cleveland. They are very different communities and their needs are very different. But the common ground is that local voters should be able to decide what is best. And so that's why I'm part of this effort to amend Ohio's Constitution to bring gun laws back home where they belong. I believe we will find the public's blessing in gathering the necessary signatures, and I look forward to beginning the effort. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Eggert. And our final speaker, before we field questions, I'm sure everyone